Welcome to the Beyond Iconic podcast, where we dive into the vast world of art iconography through somewhat casual commentary. We're your hosts, Naja
and Crystal, two artsy friends looking beyond the icons just for the hell of it.
Welcome! Happy New Year!
Welcome, everybody. So good to finally be back.
Yes.
For reference, today is January 8th, as we are recording this.
Yes.
It's already been a week after actual New Year's, so...
Yes. What are your, or how was your New Year's holiday?
My New Year's holiday was pretty good, because, you know, I had someone to kiss, so that was nice. And we went out and just, you know, hung out the whole day. And we got ice cream, and then we watched the fireworks, and we got lit, because that's what New Year's is all about.
Right.
Celebrating the past year with many festivities.
Yes. See, I forget that people do those kinds of things on New Year's. Me and Simon just literally... We did grocery shopping like it was any other weekend.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Just to make it extra spicy, we got a bottle of wine and we drank that on the New Year's.
I'm so proud.
Y'all had Stella Rose.
Yeah, y'all were like doing the adult thing and getting things done, but also celebrating in a, you know, subtle, relaxing way.
I think I also played games with my gal pals, and we did Animal Crossing and got like
cute.
The New Year hats. They were so cute.
Oh, cute. Yeah. Hell yeah. I didn't even go on Animal Crossing. I always forget that they have events. So
right.
I wonder. I don't think you can like time travel anymore to go and do the events. It'll just be like a day. I'm not sure though, because I don't know. Somebody told me that.
I feel
but
like
I'll still try it.
Yeah, get those hats, man.
Yes.
Do you have any New Year goals for 2022?
My goals are to finally post consistently on YouTube. So I spent all of this previous last year planning and figuring out my schedule, like what videos I'm gonna record and everything. So this year is the time to film and actually be consistent. So
yes,
I want to see where I can take YouTube like throughout this entire year and see where that goes.
Yes. That's like the similar feeling I have with this podcast.
Yes.
Just make sure we do the shit once a month. That's an obtainable goal.
Yes, be consistent, have that discipline, because I know we can do it. You just gotta have faith.
Exactly. That's the mindset I have for my physical goals and my creative goals, which is also to post more. I think I want to take on like one of those logo challenges. See, I need to be more determined, because even when I say it, it sounds like maybe I'll do it. I need to be like, I'm going to do this.
I noticed that too. I was like, oh, come on, say it with your chest.
I know. I am definitely going to follow through with this podcast for sure. I am going to stay on track with my physical regimen, which is running more instead of just walking. But like if I decide not to like go full out, to at least get 30 minutes of physical activity, because that's like the daily recommended or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's the same goal I had last year, which was get a raise and getting after it, you know?
Yes. That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with repurposing last year's resolutions, you know, because you just got to keep going at it. It takes a few tries.
Exactly. One of my friends, their New Year's goal is to have a less stressful year than last year.
Yes.
Which is valid.
Yes. You got to be intentional with it, you know, set some relaxing things for you to do and to, you know, fall back on to kind of equalize yourself.
Exactly. Manifest a calmer, more peaceful year than the last.
Yes.
Everybody
Absolutely.
is happy
Love
with
that.
that.
Yes, love that.
Yes. Alrighty, it's time for the meat of the pod. If
Yes,
you
time for the
don't
meat.
know, yes, for the meat. If you don't know, every episode we pick an icon to deep dive within an overarching theme. This episode's theme is New Beginnings, and I get to go first because in the pilot we flipped a coin and I picked the wrong side, so
You picked
it
the
was
right
decided.
side, okay.
I picked the right side. So every week me and Naja will be switching it up. If I go first, then she'll go first the next one, and vice versa.
Yes.
So the theme is new beginnings. So when you think of new beginnings, what more iconic symbol for a new beginning than a blank slate? This was a phrase I encountered a lot in my lifetime. I remember back in 7th grade or so, one of my Spanish teachers, I almost said professor, one of my Spanish teachers, it was the first day of school, and on the board was tabula rasa, and we were like, ooh, wow, she's starting off with the heavy hitters. There's already foreign languages on the board, which is fine.
Yes.
This is Spanish class. It is as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And she explained to us the word literally translated to scraped tablet. And she wanted to make a point to us that this was the beginning of a new school year, and it was a fresh, new beginning, so we could make whatever we wanted out of the year. And she wanted us to do good and to set good habits so that we would have a good year overall. Setting the tone right from the get-go. And it all depended on how hard we worked is the whole gist of what she had for tabula rasa. So
Nice.
What are the origins of blank slate, I wondered? Apparently, blank slate is much, much more than I realized. In fact, it's actually a whole philosophy.
Ooh.
So prior to blank slate philosophy, people only really had one way of thinking about the consciousness of the human brain, and that was based in religion. I don't think I have it right all the way, but so we were born in the image of God, and we were born knowing right from wrong because of the origin sin of Adam and Eve, because they took from the tree and they ate the apple. So
Yes.
everyone had to repent for that, and from there we knew what right from wrong is because they had committed that sin. So the blank slate theory of philosophy says, no, we are a scraped tablet. We are born with nothing, and the experiences around us are what shape our brains and our minds. So my brain, when I read about this, like, I knew the gist of it, but like blank slate theory, I was like, yes, this is tingling parts of my brain.
Right, yeah.
So apparently this was made by a man named John Locke.
Yes.
Do you know about John Locke?
Yes, I do. I remember reading some excerpts about him in English class because I think he also wrote, like, I don't want to say philosophies, but they kind of were. I just don't remember like what we were reading of his, but I do remember his name and that, you know, he was a big name in American history, yeah.
Yes. You are correct, ma'am. He was a philosopher.
Yeah.
He was that's what he was famous for. Look at you go. You know these things. So John Locke was a legendary philosopher during the 17th century. He's often called the father of libertarianism. He is the guy who was like, we were born with inalienable rights for the life, liberty, and property. And then Thomas Jefferson was like, let's change that because we don't want the slaves to have property. So we're going to say the pursuit of happiness.
God damn it.
So I swear I read his stuff in school. I have no doubt.
Yeah,
And I was
definitely.
just like, oh my God, I know this guy. I was just so shocked.
Yes.
So the blank slate originates from his philosophies, and he wrote an essay concerning human understanding, and it goes as follows. Let us then suppose the mind to be, as we say, white paper void of all characters, without any ideas. How comes it to be furnished? Whence comes it by the vast stores which the busy and boundless fancy of man has painted on it with almost endless variety? Whence has it all the materials of reason and knowledge? To that I answer one word. From experience.
Yes.
I, for one,
I resonate.
Really? Yes, I resonate. This is the vibe. I love this idea that our experiences shape us rather than just instantly knowing right from wrong.
Right.
And it's definitely leaning towards that nurture versus, like, in the nurture versus nature kind of thing. And I've always been on the side of nurture. And what do you think about this
same
blank slate theory? I think it's fascinating, and I vibe with it.
Same. I'm liking this this philosophy right here, and it kind of makes me think of like our generation and the ones younger than us, and I guess millennials too. But you know, we all kind of understand that experiences are really important when it comes to shaping character. And we prioritize that other than material things, not only because it's getting harder and harder to participate in the economy as it is, but we've learned that, you know, gaining knowledge and experience is what ultimately shapes your character and, you know, makes you who you are authentically are, which is great.
Yes, precisely. When I think about blank canvases in art, I think about the abstract expressionists during the 20th century. The abstract expressionists were birthed out of going against conventional art. So that's like the art that's like, ooh, she's a Greek. Her proportions are all perfect, and this is a landscape, and
it's
those
basically
were
like an idol.
Yeah, exactly. And like only those works of art that followed like the Renaissanceian kind of art style was what was accepted into art galleries. So they went on their like, they made their own galleries. They were like, this is what matters. This is revolutionary.
And I that is like one of my favorite eras because my art, like the way I see art or like how I feel about artists, like I'm always wanting people to like be as original as you can and have it be as raw from you as it can be. And I think with expressionists it was literally the epitome of that, because they were just, you know, just anything that has to do with your brain and your unconscious mind and everything like that, which is also a theme in mine as well. So we are tapping some, you know, we are tapping the tanks of this,
the inner stores of our minds,
expression and experience. So yeah, please continue. This is really itching my brain in a great way.
Fascinated? Yes,
I'm so turned on right now.
So post World War II, many artists questioned the value of art for aesthetic's sake. They faced inwards and questioned what made art good, and they found greater value in art in the personal experience within themselves. They found freedom in art. So one specific example of a blank canvas was Robert Rauschenberg's white paintings. There's gonna be a picture right there. It's there. He had this series of literal white paintings on stretched canvas with minimal brushstrokes or roller marks to be seen. He displayed these white paintings in varying numbers of panels. Within any configuration, it'd be uniform. They'd be the same kind of size. It'd be the same size right next to each other, proportionate, very perfect, very pure. There was uniformity in that pureness of the white and the size. And for him, these paintings, when they came to him, was an extension from God. He felt that he was as if a vassal for God to create these paintings. And he is often quoted to characterize these works as they are large white one white as God. I know the way it said was really funny. It was while I was researching this, it was really painful for my brain to process like the raw texts of the time because they spoke in a very different manner.
Yes, it's so insane when you like go back and listen to the old recordings and you're like, why the hell are they talking like that? They talking so fast.
They talking so fast with so like, what's the word? Phonetically like articulate.
Yeah,
they were so articulate about their ideas in such a fascinating way that I was just having such a hard time just clocking anything that they were saying because they were so...
I totally get that.
They were so radical in their thinking, and I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. So he says when he was talking about these works, it's completely irrelevant that he himself is making it because today is their creator. And he truly meant that. These white paintings have been retouched and even refabricated by other people than him. He would instruct people how to do it, and they would make it for him.
Whoa.
Isn't that insane?
That's strange.
I know. He completely took his artist hand outside of the equation. He was like, you guys can do it. You guys have the concept.
I like that, like, incorporation of community, at least, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not as mad that he's not the one doing it, but at the same time, you know, it's a metaphor for, like, we are all one, and we all have the ability to, you know, do this. Yeah. So, I like that message.
So, what do you think about... You can imagine it. It's literally white paintings next to each other. What do you think you'd feel seeing something like that in a museum?
Well, if you would have asked me, like, during my maybe sophomore year of college, I would have been like, that's dumb. Figurative art is king.
Best art. Yes.
But now that I'm, like, you know, opening my mind and, like, just absorbing everybody's form of expression, like, if I were to go see that in a museum, I would just be there to absorb it, you know, just look at it and be like, wow, he did this. And I can't imagine what was going through his head while he was doing that. Like, I'm trying to, like, tap into him as an artist as I'm looking at this, you know, his what's it called, his series. So you're not the only one who would feel that way. I too would probably feel exactly the same and be salty and be like, I could do that. You could literally do that. Like, you could go to Hobby Lobby and get out one of those pre-stretched canvases and put them next to each other, and boom, you have it. Because that's how conceptual it was. I like how it's not really Dadaism, but it's like almost that.
Feels like
it's a metaphor with ready-made items, you know?
Is it Dada? I don't know. It's pre-made, kind of.
Right?
But he does paint on it, I guess. So I guess it's not a found object that he just placed on a wall. He actually conceptualized it and all that.
You're right, though.
So when this series first came out, it was heavily critiqued for similar reasons to our younger, less enlightened selves. Because, as you can guess, the artist's hand wasn't a part of the equation, so many art critics were like, you can't even tell that he made it, like that kind of angriness. But a different perspective, which anchored its merits, was given by the composer and artist named John Cage.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I've heard that name.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Ring those
I'm back in modern art lecture.
You're gonna love this, because when I read this, it blew my mind all over again.
Yes, I'm ready to be blown.
So, John Cage was a modern musician and artist who was known for his composition 433, which was 4 minutes and 33 seconds of a performer intentionally sitting in silence. Let that sink in.
Like complete silence.
4 minutes and 33 seconds of a guy walking on the stage saying that he's going to perform 433 and then just sitting there for 4 minutes and 33 seconds.
Yes.
This music was created to examine the noises around you in the silence, where the silence isn't actually silence.
Right.
And the noises of the audience is the instruments, the breathing, the snickering at nothing happening.
Right.
That is all a part of the experience that John Cage was trying to create. It was the same parallel to this kind of painting where it's like blankness, like this, look, this, I have prepared for you. My background is the perfect example of a blank slate today.
Of blankness.
I also wore this intentionally because it's blank. What? She's blank.
Nice.
I
love that.
For the listeners only podcasting, I am wearing a sweater that is white with nothing, quote unquote, or is there something on there? Hashtag art.
Yes, love it.
Okay, so in the absence of traditional music was the music he was trying to create. And this was really similar to how Cage felt about Rauschenberg's white paintings. When he saw Rauschenberg's painting, he didn't see emptiness or blankness. He saw fullness within the blankness, if you will. He pointed out whenever you walk towards the painting, you can see shadows and the lights fracture and change the way you see the painting. So in encountering the painting itself and walking up to it and interacting with it, it's a whole different experience every time, and the art becomes alive because you are the one that's like making it do things. You know?
You're interacting with it, and your interaction becomes the art, which is amazing.
And when you walk up to it beyond just like the shadow and the light, you can see the wear and tear of time. You can see like little specks of dirt.
Oh,
that's
I
like
love
the
that
kind
concept.
of thing.
I love that concept of the art being alive in that sense, where it's like literally decomposing, just like that metal arm that was trending for a while.
Yes. I love that metal arm. I don't know exactly what it is called, but I'm sure we can share it on our social medias and
we'll
talk
enter
about
like
it.
We'll put it somewhere.
We'll put it somewhere in the social medias. Beyond Iconic Podcast,
in the description.
Facebook, Instagram. Yeah.
Too.
But yeah, on any given day, any variable could change the way you saw the canvas. And an empty canvas had an infinite amount of possibilities of being a different experience that is valid and worthy of appreciation.
Yes. Love it. Very inspiring.
Researching the meaning behind Blank Slate was really, really fun. I did not realize how philosophical this particular thing would be. And the more I think about a blank slate, the more I think about what a blank slate means, makes me feel even more existential and almost overwhelmed by the grandness of everything blank a blank slate can be. So
yes, it's almost like the embodiment of potential.
Yes. So that is the icon blank slate. I think it's such a powerful symbol for a new beginning because it just exemplifies everything that you can achieve is there even when you might see nothing.
Right.
The potential is there and you have it. And 2022 is gonna be your bitch. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Put him in a chokehold.
Goals and aspirations.
Yes. All right. I'm feeling real inspired. It is now time to say hello to our second icon of the episode. And this month, for the theme of new beginnings, I chose the daffodil. Why? I mean, I'm not sure. There are a lot of places I could have gone with this theme, but once I started researching, I discovered a lot of interesting facts that I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to share. So with that, let's get into the iconic daffodil. The daffodil is a proud member of the Narcissus genus of spring flora, which, I mean, that sounds really familiar, right? We all have heard Narcissus in a myriad of ways.
For sure.
These flowers are meant to be planted in the fall, and they flourish in the winter season and are amongst the first flowers to bloom in early spring. Interestingly, the name Narcissus is derived from the Greek word narke, which I think is how you say it, but if there are any Greek listeners out there, feel free to fact check that.
Yes.
Because I didn't even look it up how to say it when I typed it down.
Phonetics.
I was like, wait, I don't know how to say that.
We are professionals. We Google things.
I'm just, we're vibing out here.
Yes.
This word narke means numbness, quoting from nybg.org, written by Catherine Wagner Reese. I loved her article. It was so extensive. This is really curious to me because it is believed to be named as such due to its poisonous nature or its intoxicating fragrance, which I can't speak to because I don't think I've ever sniffed a daffodil in my life. Never. I don't think I've even seen a daffodil in real life, which is kind of sad.
You could never see something that beautiful.
No.
Just the blue bonnets,
Exactly. Right.
Only our own kind,
Right, yeah. But intoxicating fragrance, it sounds pretty dramatic. But I like the idea of its name being due to its ability to debilitate you, Mm-hmm. You could also say that this numbness could characterize Narcissus from Greek mythology. We said we were going to revisit Greek mythology, so here we are once again.
Guys.
This wasn't even intentional because I had no idea that the scientific name for daffodil was Narcissus. I was just like, are you joking? It basically wrote itself.
Yeah.
So, he was numb to outside adoration, and he was also resilient when it came to worshiping his own likeness. So that's how I think he's quite similar to that flower of the daffodil.
I see.
I'm sure we all have an idea of the story of Narcissus, but I'll go ahead and do a quick recap because I had no idea the actual details of this story. I just kind of knew the gist of it.
Yes.
So here is a wonderful excerpt from our good friend Britannica.
Yes.
Once again.
We love you, Britannica.
Yeah, we love you. You're not sponsored, but we love Britannica. Narcissus in Greek mythology is the son of the river god Cephissus and the nymph Liriope, which I have heard of her. I didn't know that was his mother, but I have heard of her before, and I've seen artwork of her. She's very beautiful. He was distinguished by his beauty. According to Ovid's Metamorphosis, Book 3, Narcissus's mother
We
was
believe
told.
in you.
I know, right? It just, man, I feel like I have dyslexia every time I put his name in
My mouth.
in my mouth. Whenever I have to use his name in a possessive way, it just sounds so strange.
Oh god, yeah. Narcissus.
Right, hate it. But yes, his mother was told by the blind seer Tiresias that he would have a long life provided he never recognized himself. However, his rejection of the love of the nymph Echo, or in an earlier version, a young man named Amenius, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, I found that really intriguing, that in another version, it was a man that, not exposed, oh my god, it was a man that was confessing his love to him, so, we love a bi king.
He's that beautiful.
Either Echo or Amenius drew upon him the vengeance of the gods. He fell in love with his own reflection in the waters of a spring and pined away, or killed himself. The flower that bears his name sprang up where he died. But, more interestingly, the Greek traveler and geographer Pausanias, I think is how you say that, he detailed a different version of the story in his Description of Greece, Book 9, and said it was more likely that Narcissus, to console himself after the death of his beloved twin sister, his exact counterpart, he'd sit gazing into the spring to recall her features.
See,
And
that's
I
the
found
one
that
I knew.
Yeah, that you knew
I
that
knew
one.
that one. Mhm.
Yeah. See, I had no idea about that one, so
Yeah.
I like that one way more, and I'll get into why.
Yes.
I find it interesting that it's possible that the death of Narcissus' twin sister sparked his obsession, which in turn caused his own death. That sort of gives the myth of Narcissus a bit more depth and adds some tragedy. It's almost nicer in some effed up kind of way to think that he was just trying to see his kin instead of himself.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, okay, well, he wasn't all like self-absorbed, like
Yeah.
the story kind of like deleted into from
Yes.
like, you know, that's what I knew. And
That's
I
what-
was
yeah.
like, what? Why was
Well-
I deprived of that like tragic story?
So the way I remembered it was that I don't remember all the details either. I just remembered he kept staring at the pool for some reason, and I thought it was because he found himself so beautiful that he just kept looking at himself, and
Yeah.
that's why he died.
Right.
That's what I remember.
Because
at
it
least.
kind of reminds me of like in the Bible, like if you're vain, like that's a sin, and like if you're too self-indulgent and like lazy, then you won't do anything for yourself or whatever, like you just stay stagnant
wow.
and then you die.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I felt like was his downfall. Was it was like vanity, and then he just was so glued to
Oh.
the river that he just
Lust
died
for himself? Question mark?
right that's what I
Deadly
thought.
sin?
So
I love that.
I mean, because we refer to people as narcissistic if they are like that, you know, and
Yeah.
like self-absorbed and whatever.
For sure.
So yeah, but I digress. Once I had absorbed all of this information about Narcissus, the myth, and the flower, I branched off into artwork, looking for any form of art that I felt really embodied either the essence of the daffodil or did like a cool callback to the myth of Narcissus, while using the daffodil icon. And I'll be damned. Salvador Dali's Metamorphosis of Narcissus fell right into my lap. This was painted in 1937. You can see this piece in the Tate Modern. I did one single Google search for this, and it was art with daffodil icon, and it was the first image to come up when I looked it up.
I love that.
It was exactly what I was looking for. For those who aren't familiar with Salvador Dali, what's it like living under that rock?
Dude.
I'm kidding. Because like I didn't even remember a whole lot of him back from my, modern art class.
Yeah.
So Salvador Dali was a Spanish surrealist painter and printmaker, influential for his explorations of the subconscious and the imagery, subconscious
Dreams.
imagery.
Yes.
One piece you may recognize is the persistence of memory with the melting clocks. Like we've all seen the melting
Yes.
clocks. The imagery of that
100%.
painting has been reused and repurposed for years now. If you want to know more about his personal life and surrealist journey, I recommend doing a quick search or go to the Dali Museum website. They have some extensive information about his life and work, but I'm only going to focus on his this painting right here as it pertains to the theme of the month. Okay.
Yes.
With that, let us analyze the metamorphosis of Narcissus. Right off the bat, we can deduce what this painting is generally depicting. Narcissus dying and ultimately being immortalized by the gods into a daffodil. When you look at this piece, though, you're faced with an amalgamation of surrealist imagery. You can see a crouched Narcissus sitting and gazing into the body of water. There's something a bit unsettling about his figure, though, his head in particular. When I first saw it, it looked like a blank face, and I thought as much because like his hairline in the picture is so... His hairline in the painting is so far back, so like I kept seeing it as like his bald head too, but I was just like, that just looks so weird. Like, it looks so weird to me. I looked closer and I could kind of make out a face, and it was really distorted and faint, but and that just could be me trying to force the image, but like I can kind of see it. It looks like a ghost of a face, and it looks kind of angry too. Dolly in this piece plays with double images, as you can see with the figure of Narcissus and his reflection next to the hand holding the egg sprouting the daffodil. Both embody the same shape but depict different things. This type of illusion was inspired by his fascination with hallucination and delusion, quoting from tate.org.uk in their description of the painting. They go on to say that this was Dolly's first painting to be made entirely in accordance with the paranoid critical method. Oh, sorry, I need to take a breath.
That's okay. I had to look up what it was. Also, I was having camera issues, so super fun.
Yes, so raw.
I really like this painting, though. It's very
right, isn't it cool? I love, like, surrealism is probably my absolute favorite era in art, because it was just the most like
chaotic.
It was just so fun to look at. Everything's so fun to look at.
Yes, I love things with clouds.
They're
always so whimsical.
Yes, I agree.
And like this is the first time I'm seeing this painting too, so this is really fun for me because
Nice. Awesome.
I have never really delved deep into Dolly.
Mm-hmm.
I know about his rhinos and his melting clocks.
Yes.
So I really love this. So
cool. All right. Going back into the paranoid critical method, this was seen to be as like the spontaneous method of irrational knowledge based on the critical interpretive association of the phenomena of delirium. And they quote this, Tate.org, they quote this from The Conquest of the Irrationals. The Conquest of the Irrational, published in The Secret Life of Salvador Dali, New York, 1942. Ooh. This basically means he was able to tap into his unconscious to render images that are similar in shape, but different. He not only does this with the hand, but with the crack in the egg, and one could see it as a crack, but one might also see it as the shadow being cast by the lily.
Yes.
And you might ask, what inspired him to use the hand and the egg? Not one. That was not the right sentence. I personally see this as an illustration of the hand of one of the gods giving Narcissus new life, metaphorically. The egg was an icon in this art piece that caught my eye because, funnily enough, Crystal was originally going to study the icon of the egg this month, but she changed it.
We're saving the egg for a later date.
Yes. I thought it was uncanny that in researching something completely different, like, the egg just appears.
Yes. You will never escape the egg.
Right, you can never escape the egg. They're part of my morning.
The egg came first. It was always the egg.
It was always the egg. I see this as a way to convey birth, new beginnings, if you will.
Wow. Yes. She really tied that in just
I really
like that.
did that, bro. I really did that.
I love that.
Though the single daffodil is clearly crucial to convey Narcissus's reincarnation, it behooves me to include and mention the superstition behind the single daffodil versus a bouquet. A single daffodil brought into the home is seen as bad luck. Quite different than new beginnings, more like the opposite. New endings. I'm not sure if that's applicable to this painting, to Dolly's painting, but I thought I'd make the connection anyway because it was just one. Why is it just one? It's probably just because it's Narcissus and he's one person. So, yeah. But I was like,
so, what's the meaning of a bouquet then? Is that like nice?
I would just say it's good luck.
Oh.
It probably brings abundance.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that a single one, if received, is a bad omen. if you
Yeah,
will.
me either.
What?
I was like, okay, well,
Okay.
we're focusing on the good tidings of the daffodil, the new beginnings they bring.
Yes. Wow. Oh my god. I need a recap of the daffodil. Wait. Wait a second. The daffodil is one complex little lady.
She
Oh,
really
man.
is.
Genius. People. Oh, it's because it's in the spring, which is of the new
Yes,
year,
and it's
isn't
also
it?
the first flower to bloom in the spring.
I see.
So, and I don't know
Yeah.
if that also tied into, it being identified as narcissist, because it's like, I'm gonna be the first one. I'm
Ooh,
the first one.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. That's a fair point. He's like,
I'm the only important flower.
first come, first served.
Yes.
I am amazing, and I am selfish. Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I'm
I
really
love
happy
that.
that we got to dive into modern art. This was not planned at
Yes.
all. But I'm so happy that we landed
coincidence.
there, because I remember in school, like, I kind of hated modern art. I hated how, like, cerebral it was. I just didn't understand, because I was just, I like cartoons and I want to draw. Like, not really thinking about how art can be used
Oh,
in different
Lord, yeah.
ways and, like, more
Yeah.
nuanced ways.
Yeah. I remember too, though, back in senior thesis, we were like, why can't art be for art's sake? Why does it have to
Yes.
be so complicated?
Yes.
And I feel like in a way, art for art's sake can be also very cerebral.
Yes.
And I don't know, you know what I mean?
I totally get what you mean, because it's like doing art for art's sake, it's like it can be as complicated as someone wants it to be, because they're doing art for that sake, like for whatever it is that they think is important. They're making art for that reason. And I think little old me, young art girl, I just was like so infatuated with imagery and like not having not feeling like it needs to have any real like meaning. It could just be something fun that you did that doesn't mean anything, but it can be said it can be both, like you shouldn't put any limitations on how deep your art has to be,
Right.
in order for it to be considered art for art's sake. So this is me critiquing my younger self.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she was something.
Dude,
Annoying.
when I was never annoying, just not immature,
But I was that
growing,
too, yeah. Yeah.
growing stages, growing pains.
Yeah, growing pain for sure.
Oh. What's it called? I was gonna say, reading about. I spent a lot of time listening to John Cage because I just thought he had a fascinating mind. I listened to one of his lectures, and he was talking about he applied musical composition elements when he was writing the article talking about Rauschenberg's work. Which made so much sense to me, because that is why it was so confusing, because it was like word vomit from his mind onto page about another very radical artist, and it was just like, oh my god, my brain is not handling this information that you are throwing at me right now, sir. It was really fascinating.
Yeah, I heard of John Cage, and when I was Cajun, sounded like I said Cajun. John Cajun.
Yes.
No, but yeah, I heard a lot about him in modern art class as well. I remember he was like the only art critic that really was really open-minded and like saw things
Yes.
like Rauschenberg and all those other, even the performance artists that were, you know, they were doing some weird stuff, really weird stuff,
Yes.
but they were like pushing the limit of what art was seen as at the time, and he was always like, hell yeah, I don't know where this is going.
Amazing, I love
this
it.
This is it.
I get you.
More of
like,
this.
Yes, I'm
more
vibing
free
with
expression.
you right now. Yes.
So important.
Yes.
Expression is so important.
It is. I think I just feel even more appreciative of art that is not conventional and is modern.
Right.
Even though sometimes I may be mad that I wasn't in that time where you could make a canvas and it looked like nothing, when in actuality it's very thought out and seeks to be powerful in a more conceptual and intellectual manner.
Yeah.
Yo, Barnett Newman.
Yes, Barnett Newman.
Do you remember him?
I remember him. He was a critic too, right?
Yes, he was.
Yes, I can't remember if he was the annoying one that was like.
It wasn't.
Okay,
because
because
a good guy.
there was someone else who just never had good things to say about the modern artist. But who cares about his name? He's
exactly
irrelevant.
Barnett Newman. He's where it's at. I almost did stuff about Barnett Newman, but it was just like too auxiliary, and also he's his own can of worms, and the
I'm
takeaway.
sure he'll resurface one day.
Yeah, the takeaway from him though was the abstract expressionists at the time. They were painting as if nobody had ever painted before, was his description of it, and I think that is very powerful to think in that way.
Yes. But in my head, I'm thinking of like a caveman just found a paint set and like paint, and then that's what he would probably do, is what the expressionist art is.
Jackson Pollock?
Yep. I was thinking about him the entire time you were talking about expressionism, because he is just the poster child for that.
I love his art.
Yeah. He's a cool guy. Expressionism and surrealism, I feel like, are the most authentic forms of human expression.
Yes. I agree. That is their goal entirely, is to delve into the depths of the human mind and see what new ways you can get the brain going.
Yes, exactly.
In a visual way. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I feel so intellectual right now.
I
feel enlightened right now.
I feel so learned right now. Yes. I've ascended.
Yes. I feel like if we went back and took history, I would be in my happy place.
Me too. I think about that all the time, because my favorite parts of those classes were when we got to watch all of the performance art, and my favorite one was like the beam, and I don't remember who, like, it was a female artist who did this, but it was like she and this man would run at this beam. It was like, it's huge, it's like feet tall, I don't remember how long, but they would like run at it and smack their bodies against it to make it move. And they would just keep doing that for hours, and that their bodies were getting like visibly, torn, and like, you could see how much that like really affected their bodies, and that was just so profound. That like people were just watching other people do that repeatedly for hours.
That's how I feel about the cut piece. That one really fucked me up, because it just felt really vulnerable and attacky to my soul. The way people would take pieces of her clothes and they would like treasure it a little bit and be like, oh my god, this piece of cloth is mine now, and I've taken it away from this person, and also made them feel more vulnerable in a way. And I was just like, dude.
And that's just so deep. So deep. I love it.
So deep. Oh my god, my brain is just so titillated right now.
Yes.
Thanks so much for looking beyond the icons with us. If you thought this was an interesting discussion, tune in next time. Next month's theme will be love, with an emphasis on Black artists in honor of Black History Month. But let us not forget, Black history will always be American history. I love
Hell
that.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
Yes.
I love that you added that.
We are all here in this country. And Black history, it ain't nothing but American history.
America. We're all Americans here.
American.